Welcome to the Phil Steele Plus Tour with selections for this weekend's games for Saturday, September the 14th. And up for you today, I have 6 selections. I have 5 more quick hitters for you, and I've got an NFL play. I have all that for you in a minute. Or let's go right to it and start with the Phil Steele Plus. Now, last week we went 3-3 on the selections. Now 33-17, 66% over the last 10 weeks. A little disappointed in Wake Forest game. I'll show you more on that later. But let's jump in with the selection right off the bat. And it's a revenge game. And for those of you that follow along on Phil Steele Plus, I'm going to do something different today. On the Phil Steele Plus menu, I have got the games with all the schedule listed like this. Their schedule, and I'll get to that in a minute. Let's go into this particular game. It's a revenge game. The revenge games went 3-0 last week. They are now 48-20, 71% on the schedule. But this isn't just your typical revenge game. Let's take a look at Cincinnati. They're playing Miami of Ohio. If you click on the opponent right here, what you get is the complete record, what's happened in this series. And take a look at this. Cincinnati had won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in a row straight up in the series, and they lost last year. That's a legitimate revenge game. You lose 16 in a row, and you lose a game that's legitimate. And look at this. They had a 538 to 358 yard edge, 30-16 first down edge, but lost the game. That makes it even better. It shows they were probably the better team last year, but ended up losing. The previous 4 games, they had beat Miami of Ohio by an average of 25 points per game. Now, they're on the road, but these two teams are fairly close, so Cincinnati have a decent amount of fans there. And last week, if you watch the Cincinnati game, go back against Pitt, Cincinnati led this thing 27-6. Late in the third quarter, complete and total domination. Once again, I'd like to thank collegepressbox.com for allowing us to post the box scores on every game. I watch the 12 games on my TVs, and I go through the play-by-play of every single game. And this gives you not only the scoring here, gives you the stats for the teams, gives you the box score, gives you who the starters were, and goes all the way through what play-by-play, first quarter, second quarter. And as you can see at this point, Cincinnati, total domination in the game. And then in the fourth quarter, they sort of played some prevent defense, and it prevented them from winning. Pitt came back and got a field goal on the final play of the game to pull out a win. But their offense was explosive. At the half, check out this right here. This is your halftime score and yards of every game. 17-6 at the half, 285, 168 yard edge, led 27-6 and ended up losing 28-27. So they're coming off a game where probably should have won, so off a loss with revenge. It's a revenge game, and I'm going to take Cincinnati minus 3.5. Now, let me explain the schedule with numbers to you real quick. If you're a member of Phil Steele Plus, and you're going to log in to Phil Steele Plus, and then you get to your menu, which is right here. Here is your schedule with power ratings forecasts. And this tells you what each of the categories is. So if you want a further explanation, just go there and get it for each of the categories. And then you just click here, and boom, there it is, your schedule with numbers. But this is a lot of information, and frankly, I don't want to give you guys all the information on the tour if you're not a Phil Steele Plus member. So what I'm going to do each week now is I'm just going to highlight the games that we're going to go over for this week. So here's all the games we're going to go over. We're going to start off with Cincinnati, Miami. You could see that this is a revenge game. Now, here is what the best bets did last week. Last week, the best bets in the schedule with numbers, and their best bets are highlighted by the green, went 39-21. Outstanding week. The revenge plays went 3-0. There's the first 3 revenge plays of the year, so they're 3-0 on the year. And add in last year when they went 48-20. How about 51-20 over the 2 years? And as you can see, it's a green play, revenge 3 Cincinnati. So this is the schedule. These are today's games. I have them all listed for you here. And this is a revenge play on Cincinnati. And that is game number 1, one of your 6 selections. Now, one of the viewers, and I appreciate all you viewers each and every week, had a question last week about the records, but the records are pretty clear. I mean, I say at the start we have 6 selections. Then I tell you what the 6 selections did. Last week they went 3-3. Bitter about that Wake Forest game. And by the way, One of you guys watching this tape, we're watching that Wake Forest game when we're up 30-17 in the fourth quarter, and one of you marked down win on your sheet, didn't you? And that's an automatic kiss of death. Virginia was able to come back and pull that thing out, but I know one of you guys marked down win, so don't do that in the future. But I was thinking it. We were 3-1 on the tour. I was thinking, okay, we're definitely 4-1. We got the totals play left. We ended up 3-3. But now, with the selections, and the selections are clearly labeled, they are now 33-17, 66% the last 10 weeks. And these are given away free. 65-42, 61% over the last 21 weeks here on the tour. Now, the quick hitters, which I give you after the selections, went 2-2 last week. They're now 129-102 over 3 years. And the NFL plays, we were riding the Cleveland Browns down the stretch last year, so we had a 4-1-1 record over 10 weeks. And as you could tell, I don't really pay attention to the NFL, so we don't have a lot of NFL plays, but they're 4-1-1 over the 10 weeks, even with last week's loss. Last week I gave you Atlanta over Pittsburgh. That did not win, so that was 0-1. I did give out a free Twitter halftime play, which was Ole Miss minus 26 at the half, and that was a winner. We'll see if we come up with a halftime play for you this week. Keep Twitter or X open to check that out. But that's how we do the tour records. You have your selections, you have your quick hitters, and then you have your NFL play, and maybe I'll have a halftime play. We'll see. But let's get to play number 2 for this week, because that's what you're here for. You're here for the free plays, and, of course, to find out how to use the tour. So the second game we're going to take a look at is Illinois against Central Michigan. Now, both these teams made me very happy last week. Illinois, I called for the outright upset in that game. They upset Kansas, so I enjoyed that greatly and had that as a best bet. And then my computer, by the way, last week had Florida International plus 6.5 over Central Michigan. And my computer, all right, it beat me last week. My computer had another big week went 4-0 on the selections, and then had 2 FBS versus FCS selections, won them both. So the computer actually was 6-0 last week on its selections. He's been gloating all week. Yeah, he's pretty happy. Beat me last year. A quick note for you about the press box and to give the best bets. What we do with that, and the battle is on. I was beating the computer, but last week the computer beat me. So my best bets are only 5-5 this year. The computer best bets are 7-1. And I give you a complete write-up on every game. Hey, Todd, give me the press box for UNLV and Kansas. For Toledo and Mississippi State. I'm going to use that later. Todd's going to get that one for me later. I just remembered. But anyway, I'll show you what the press box write-up is like. Shows you the computer forecast, shows you mine. I'll give you that later in it. But with press box, the computer at best bets are now 7-1 this year. And the computer's on a heater, 23-8 over the last 11 weeks. Now, my FBS versus FBS best bets went 2-1 last week. They're 5-3 on the year. The computer went 2-0. They're 4-2 on the year. If you add these best bets, the computer best bets, my best bets, 21-11, 66% for the computer. This face is like that because the computer beat me last week. I'm not happy about that, but you can't argue with 21-11, 66% on the year. Now, if you want just this week's issue, you get 63 games this week. Just $15. I'll give you that $15 discount again. Use the code word THEBATTLE. All you have to do is go here to the store, the philsteele.com store, which is right on the front of here. And here's your college press box single edition. Click on that and then just type in the code word THEBATTLE. Don't pay the $20. You get it for $15. But really, you know what, guys? You actually get Phil Steele Plus with a press box subscription. So if you do get the college press box for the year, right here's the college, here's the pro, growing college, through the year, you actually get Phil Steele Plus for free. So do keep that in mind. All right, let's get to some more plays. And as mentioned, we are going to go with Toledo and Mississippi State, Todd. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to take a look at Illinois and Central Michigan. Like I said, both these teams made me happy last week. Central Michigan lost to Florida International 52-16. So the computer had FIU plus 6.5, and they won 52-16. Wow. and here's Illinois. Now, the one thing I want to take a look at this matchup is a couple of things. First of all, let's go take a look at what our schedule with numbers says on it. Schedule with numbers has got Central Michigan. My preseason line was Illinois -9. The average game grade does say Illinois by 22.4, plus minus power ratings by 24. That should be expected after last week's results. And so the schedule is sort of a little bit, it's got one best bet on Central Michigan. But what I like in this is it's a situation angle game for me. First of all, the situation. Illinois is off a big win against Kansas. I love that. Now, they've got Central Michigan on deck. Oh, I think one thing I didn't point out here, there should be a schedule here. Yes, here it is. Here is the schedule. Now, the schedule place went 5-2 last week. They are 70-53. This looks at everything, and it says that Illinois is in a flat spot. If the schedule has a minus, that means take the visitor. If the schedule has a positive, that means take the home team. So here it is saying take Central Michigan has got the advantage here schedule-wise, and here's why they have the advantage. If you look at Illinois, they are off that big win against Kansas, a ranked team at home. They've got at Nebraska, at Penn State on deck. So this game is sort of you're a big favorite, sort of a flat spot for them. Central Michigan, meanwhile, does well, extremely well as an away dog. In fact, let's go take a look at that. And if you click up here, last 10 years straight up in ATS, you actually get the ATS record. So let's see how McElwain does as an away dog. 5-3, 7-4, 8-4. And I believe it's even further. Yeah, it's back here. McElwain goes. So he's 11-6 as an away dog. So you like that. You've got a good away dog. In fact, Central, 25-12 as an away dog over 10 years. So you got a good away dog. And with Illinois, let's take a look how they do as a home favorite. Bielema was 0-5 as a home favorite last year. So that's 3-8, 4-10. Bielema is in Illinois as a home favorite. So you have a poor home favorite against a good away dog. The situation clearly screams out Central Michigan. They are plus 19 in this one. You got to like that. And as mentioned, my preseason line was 9. And once again, going back to the schedule with numbers for a minute, my preseason line was 9. The preseason lines are now 7-1 this year so far. And look at that. A lot of best bets this week. So Central Michigan is your play this week, plus 19 against Illinois. Look for them to keep that one much closer than expected this week. All right, let's go to the fourth quarter swing game, I'm going to call it. And this is two games that made me a little bitter last week. I had Maryland against Virginia last week, and the tour had Wake Forest minus the points against Virginia. So let's go take a look at these two teams. Now, had last week's fourth quarter results stayed, had the two teams done what was expected and stayed as expected, Maryland would probably be about a 7-point favorite this week. But here they're only about a 2.5-point favorite. So that's why we like Maryland. Maryland's the play here. But let me explain to you why. Now, first of all, let's go look at that Maryland game. Once again, you look at the box score for last week against Michigan State. I had Maryland as a best bet, and they were -9, and things are looking good right here. We're up by 7. We've been leading, and let's go to the fourth quarter. Up by 7. Here's the fourth quarter. Maryland gets the ball. We're intercepted. That didn't help us. They get intercepted at the 23. So that sucked. But their defense forces a punt, get the ball back, come right down here. 41-yard field goal going to give us the cover with just 4 minutes and 22 seconds left. They missed the field goal. So instead of being up by 10 and basically clinching the game, they left Michigan State in the game. Michigan State gets a 77-yard TD pass on the next play and then drives down and wins the game with a field goal with 1 second left. So it's a game Maryland could easily have won last week. Had they won, they'd probably be a bigger favorite. And with Virginia on the tour, once again, the tour's 3-1 last week. Wake Forest has this game in their pocket. I mean, Wake Forest never trailed. Look at this, 7-0, 10-7, 17-3, 20-10, 27-17, 30-17 Wake Forest, and we're in the fourth quarter. Everything is wonderful. So one of you guys marked down win on your sheet. I know you did, and that's what happened here. And yeah, I'm superstitious like that. Never mark down win on your sheet till the game actually wins. And then you look here, and Wake punts, and then Virginia actually goes down and pulls within 6, but we're still fine. The game's like pick 'em. We drive down here. We go for it on 4th and 9 at the 36, gets sacked. Virginia goes and gets ahead with a touchdown. Then Wake comes down, and we're going to cover. I mean, there's no doubt we're going to cover. We throw a pass. We're all the way down to the Virginia 29-yard line, and we fumble. And then Virginia basically runs it down to 57 seconds left and wins the game. A game Wake really should have won, led almost start to finish, and ended up short. Wake had a 544 to 430-yard edge, and when they lost the game. So last week, the last part of the fourth quarter hurt us in both games. I like Maryland minus the points. And then the other thing to look at here, and I'll go back to the schedule with numbers and show you how to use another column. This column here takes last year's score. And last year, Maryland won the game over Virginia 42-14. So they won by 28 at home. Okay? So if you take their 28 points at home and you subtract their 3-point home edge, that brings them down to 25. Give Virginia the 3-point home edge, that brings them down to 22. It still says Maryland should win the game by 22 based on last year's score. That makes it a best bet in that column. And that's 9-6 on the year. 80-66 is this column. And not all the best bets will agree. And one thing I did do different, and I'll get to it when we get to one that shows different this week, is we're starting to put the opponent here. Like in last year, what we did here was we had Oregon -8 and had it as a best bet, which would be saying take Oregon State. This year, we're going to actually put the underdog for best bets. So here's the underdog there, but we'll get to that game in a minute. So anyway, in this game, add it all up, it's fourth quarter swing game. And we are going to take Maryland -2.5 over Virginia on this one. So let's go to the series play. And by the way, Phil Steele Plus Tour, I did the records already. Sorry about that. I want to give you a special for Phil Steele Plus. And it's the same special I've been offering you the last couple weeks, but still a great deal. You can get Phil Steele Plus for the entire year. And once again, just go to the store here. And when you go to the store at philsteele.com, just go to Phil Steele Plus, which is right here. It's $99 for the year. 23 weeks. It gets you every FBS game, every college game, every FCS game, every NFL team, all of them. $99, take $10 off with expert wins. $89 comes out to $3.86 per week. You get access to the schedule. You get access to these team pages. You get access to the FCS team pages. They'll all be updated this week. They're currently not updated yet, but by the end of the week they will be. And this takes you back in the FCS through all this, and it gives you the average game grades for FCS teams. You got to love that. Average game grades on every one, plus the NFL team pages, which we'll get to in a little bit. But all that, just $89 for the year. Just sign up right here at the store for Phil Steele Plus. And you get access to that schedule, which is not just this. It's the schedule with all the games on it. You have access to that each week. All right, let's get to our next game. And we're going to take a look at our Series AGG play. And here we're going to take a look at Oregon State against Oregon. Now, Oregon's on the road, so we're going to put them on the left here. And Oregon State is at home, so we're going to put them on the right. We'll get to that in a sec. Just click on team pages, and we're going to put Oregon State on the right over here. Oregon State. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the series history. All right, how do we get to series history? You guys know, just click on an opponent, and you get the last 27 years matchups. Now, how this works, if this is red, that means the team lost the game. If it's green, that means the team won the game. This is the spread. If this is green, the team covered the game. If it is red, they did not cover. You don't have to do the math in your head. 14-point dog, lost by 24, didn't cover. No, it's done for you. And that's why I love the red and the green. Naturally, red here is a bad defensive performance, whether it's versus run, pass, or overall. Green is a good offensive performance. But here, look at the home team in this series. Now, this is, if it's win, that means the home team won the game straight up. If it's colored differently, that means the home team did not cover. But here, the home team is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 8-1 straight up. 8-2, 9-2, 9-3, 10-3. But 8-1 straight up the last 9 meetings. Home team has won the game outright. You're talking about a home team that's a 16.5-point dog. So I'm not worried about the spread. 8-1 straight up. If the home team wins this, look out. And then take a look at the AGG for the game. And the AGG is very important. It has nothing to do, like Oregon, for example. Great power rating to start the year, right? Well, the AGG doesn't care what your starting power rating does. It only cares about your opponent and what you did in the game. It takes the yards rushing, yards passing, yards rushing defense, yards there, and the points. It also factors into your opponent. So far this year, Oregon ignores completely Oregon's beginning power rating, is playing to a 105.8 level. Oregon State is playing at a 103 level. Now, you factor in the home field edge, and when you look at the schedule with numbers, and we do update the AGG right here, it says Oregon State by 1.6, and they're a 16-point dog. You got to like that. This also gives you TV times, which Kevin updates weekly. This gives you the latest line, which Kevin updates daily. And then over here, it shows you the last met. Last year, the line would say this year that Oregon State, they must have been a 14-point dog last year if it's saying Oregon State +8 this year because they're at home. So that's across the board. Here's a best bet over here. The FPI says Oregon by 4.5. Last time they played here, if it said Oregon State was a 3-point dog and won by 4, that's all good. You have a lot of best bets on this one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 5 best bet line there on Oregon State, plus the points over Oregon. As mentioned, the AGG is there. And then here's your final factor. Let's take a look at the last 10 years spread records. Now, this is in your magazine. Want to know how they do as a home favorite? Just flip to your magazine page, but it's also right here on Phil Steele Plus. And if you're on Phil Steele Plus, you don't even have to flip to the magazine. Right here's your spread records. How do they do at home? How about 4-2, 8-2, 11-2, 15-2, 17-2 at home against the spread? Now, they did lose earlier this year. This game against Idaho State did not cover, so 17-3 against the spread in Reser Stadium. This is a Super Bowl for Oregon State this week. Oregon State got kicked out of the FBS, and Oregon left them behind. So you know that during the offseason, this is the game they've been pointing to. I like Oregon State plus 16.5 over Oregon as the series AGG play. All right, let's go to your next one, your fifth selection for the day. And we're going to take my gut feeling play, and it is Florida State -6 over Memphis. Now, I know Florida State's opened up the year 0-2. Everybody's saying Florida State's a bad football team. I disagree with that. I think Georgia Tech and Boston College are both good teams. They had their opportunities in both games to play well. They're off a bye. They need to get the win here. And they're taking on Memphis. Memphis is a very good team. I've got Memphis. If you go look at the power poll in the magazine, Memphis is the top-rated American Conference team. But one thing Memphis doesn't do well is play well on the road. If you take a look at their record against the spread on the road, they are, I think Silverfield's right here, 0-3, 0-7, 0-8, 1-8, 3-8, 3-10, 6-12. 6-12 against the spread on the road. They're an outstanding home team, 56-12 at home. But on the road, look at this, 2-7, 3-11. They are 8-11 straight up on the road and 33% against the spread. So Florida State's in an absolute must-win situation here. They are at home. If you go back to that schedule with numbers, the one thing you could look at there is my preseason line on the game was Florida State -17. Now, naturally, I'd bring that down some, but they're only a 6.5-point favorite, so that's a best bet. And look at this strength of schedule. Strength of schedule says Florida State's played 104 tougher schedule than Memphis has. Memphis has played North Alabama and Troy. Florida State's played Georgia Tech and Boston College, 2 Power 5 teams. So I haven't had any schedule plays this year yet. The schedule plays are 38-22. Here is a schedule best bet, Florida State. Action Network at the beginning of the year had Florida State -21. You know, these were preseason lines by Action Network last year. They allow us to put them in here, which I really appreciate. They went 32-20 last year. So they've got Florida State here in this one as well. Add it all up, I think Florida State's a better team. They're at home, desperate situation. Memphis doesn't play well on the road. I'm going to take Florida State, who is 21 take Florida State off a bye, -6 against Memphis. All right, let's get to your sixth game this week and your sixth selection. And this is my wrong team favored game. My wrong team favored game, we're going to put Florida on the right, and we're going to put Texas A&M on the left. Texas A&M is a 3.5-point favorite right now in the swamp. One thing I want to point out to you about Texas A&M, they have actually lost their last 10 true road games. At Miami of Florida, loss. At Tennessee, loss. At Mississippi, loss. At LSU, loss. That's 4. Let's keep rolling. At Mississippi State, loss. At Alabama, loss. At South Carolina, loss. At Auburn, loss. That's 8. And go down here. At LSU, loss. At Mississippi, loss. 10 straight road games Texas A&M has lost, and they're favored here. Also, a lot of expectations coming in the year for Connor Wegman. He's only hitting 52% with a 2-2 ratio. Meanwhile, DJ Lagway came in late against Miami, led a touchdown drive, and last week was great. You click here for individual player stats. You see that Lagway last week hit 18 of 25 for 456 yards and a 3-0 ratio. Now, granted, it was Samford. I know that. No problem. But he was one of the top quarterbacks coming out of high school. And he is a big boy with a strong arm, very accurate passer as well, and a dangerous runner. They're probably going to use both Lagway and Mertz this week. And look at the quarterback rating, 225 versus a 101. And last year, Mertz had a quarterback rating of 157.4. So I give them the quarterback edge as well. Florida, by the way, if we take a look at the last 10 years, is at home. Take away this year right here, they are 43-13 straight up in the swamp over the last 10 years. This year they did lose, so let's make that 43-14. And then finally, of course, the AGG comes in. Now they're playing at a level, even with that loss to Miami, of 99.3. A&M's playing at 101.2. Give them the home field edge. Check your home field edge in the magazine, what I give for Florida. And that calls for Florida by 3.2. So once again, you got Florida by 3.2 here. My preseason line was Florida -4. That's a double best bet. The last time they played here in the last 3 years, Florida -5, and they won the game by 23. Let's see when that was. Did they play them here? Texas A&M. They play them here in 2022. Oh, it's at Texas A&M. They won by 17. So you give the 6-point switch, and you take a look at the spread in that game, which would have been, let's count the 6-point switch in there. Go back here. And Florida 5, so they were a 1-point dog, and they won the game by 17. Now they're at home, so they'd be a 5-point favorite and win the game by 23. So once again, you got 4 best bets lined up on the same team in this one in Florida. And like I said, we'll point out in the best bets which team the best bet favors, as opposed to the way we were doing it last year. So those are your 6 selections. We're going to get to your quick hitters for you in a minute. Well, let's go right to the quick hitters. We got Colorado State is playing Colorado. And we're going to put Colorado State on the right. They are the home team. Colorado State, Mountain West, and Colorado is on the left. They are the visitor. Now, this is one where, once again, if we go back to the schedule, we have a schedule play here. A situational edge goes to Colorado State. This is their Super Bowl. This is the game they want. It showed last year. Last year, Colorado was a 21-point favorite in the game. Colorado State, look at this at the half. They led 21-14, could have been up more. They had a 262 to 85-yard edge. And if you go to the box score of that game, you see that Colorado State actually led 28-17 in the fourth quarter. Colorado actually tied it, and then to force overtime with 36 seconds left. They needed a 45-yard touchdown pass. Colorado was very fortunate to get to overtime, and they won in overtime. But you know, all season long, Colorado State been going for this one. Last year, my schedule with numbers, last week I should say, had ULM. ULM was staff fired by the UAB team, had a lot of things bent up, and what happened? ULM at home, a big dog against UAB, not only pulled the upset, they won that thing 31-something. That was a schedule play winner for the schedule last week. So you got that going for you in this game. Let's see if we got anything else going for you. The power ratings. Now, this power rating here, last met line would have Colorado. They must have been a 23-point favorite last year. They'd be 17 on the road. So that's actually saying Colorado, but the result says take Colorado State. What this does is if the game went to overtime, it just gives 6 points to the home team, which it did here, which is saying Colorado State by 6. My preseason line was Pick'em in this one. So once again, the situation, though, 70-53 the last 2 years has a situational play on Colorado State. It is their Super Bowl game. And as mentioned, Colorado State outplayed Colorado last year. These are quick hitters, so I should be moving quicker in them, right? All right, let's go to Washington and Washington State. This one does have a series play here. Now, the game technically is a Washington State home game, but I'm actually going to put Washington on the right. Why, you ask? Because the game's in Seattle. And these two teams are at the opposite ends of the state. Seattle is all the way by the coast. Washington State is way at the other end of the state. Washington will have the home field edge. So while it's listed as a home game for Washington State, it's actually a home game for Washington. And if you take a look at the series history here, click on that, you can see that Washington's dominated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-1 straight up. and they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-2 against the spread. They did not cover last year because they were playing with a lot of pressure on them. They were trying to make the playoffs as it was, and so they only won 24-21, but they had one at Washington State, 51-33. So this is more of a series play. We're going to take Washington, and let me see, go back to the schedule with numbers, see if they have anything else favored for them here. Action Network had Washington a 21-point favorite heading into the year. And over here says Washington by 21. The last time here, which was supposed to be at Washington State, they won by 21. So we'll take Washington. They're only laying 4. Oh, the other thing I want to point out here, look at this Texas Tech game. They won 37-16. They were actually out first down 24-18 and outgained 491-416. In fact, at the half, they led 27-10, but were outgained 261-281. Also want to remind you that we do have last 40 years results on every single team, all the way back to 1976. You want to do any research, it gives you the ranked team. Here is where they actually started putting up totals, was 2004. Didn't have totals before that. And we also started listing half times, which are very important as well. If the team is in bold, that means they won the game straight up. This WL refers to the fact of whether they covered or not. So keep that in mind. Like here, 33-30L, you say? How did they lose the game? Well, they were a 17-point favorite. So this is the spread. The bold tells you who won the game. And, of course, you can see who won the game there. There's your total, and there's your halftime on each game. And that takes you all the way back to 1976. So if you like to do research, that's available on every single team for the year. We also have start charts, by the way. Go back last year. Here's a start chart on every game. We'll have a start charts updated pretty soon on the site for this year. Let's go to your next game. It's Arkansas, and they are hosting UAB. Now, I talked about UAB last week. UAB was a big favorite. The situational play had ULM, and look what happened. Let's go to find UAB, put them on the left. Final score, 32-6 ULM in that game. Wow. And on the right, we're going to put Arkansas. Now, Arkansas is another team that had an unfortunate loss last week. You take a look at this game at the half, 21-7 with a 351-77-yard edge. Here's the key play of the game. Happened in the second quarter. Arkansas is firmly in control of this game and driving, by the way. 7-0, 14-0. Let's go second quarter. 14-0 and driving. They're at the Oklahoma State 29. Arkansas State, I should say, is about to make it potentially 21-0. Intercepted and returned 73 yards for a touchdown, the dreaded 14-point swing. Even with that 14-point swing, they led 21-7 at the half. It could have been 28-0. That kept the door open for Oklahoma State to be able to come back and win it in overtime. But this Arkansas offense is explosive. 687 yards, 648 yards. Bobby Petrino's got it going on. In fact, Mike Gundy said last week he had a tough time preparing for the offense. You're looking at a UAB team that against Southeastern Conference teams is 0-6 straight up. That's expected. But how about 1-5 against the spread? And their defensive coordinator, by the way, was a defensive coordinator and coaching a high school team 2 years ago. Now he's taking on Bobby Petrino. So add it all up, we're going to go with Arkansas minus 24 over UAB. Let's see if the schedule with numbers gives us any other validation on that one. And that's the thing you can use. If you're handicapping by yourself, use this schedule with numbers. See what all the power ratings have. AGG has Arkansas playing at a 37.8 level, and they're only laying 24.5 in the game. So it does rate a best bet there. Let's move on to your next game, and it's Toledo and Mississippi State. And I'm going to call this one the Press Box Random Game. And Todd was able to, it says UNLV Kansas for here. So we are going to get Toledo against Mississippi State. And I need that PDF as well. All right. So I told him the wrong game. Let's move on to our NFL game while Todd gets that ready for us. I'll have one more quick hitter for you. Let's go ahead and move to the NFL. And NFL plays. FBS. And all right, so we're going to take a look at the Rams against Arizona. Rams against Arizona is going to be our FBS play here. And let's take a look at the Rams. We're going to put Arizona's the home team, and the Rams are on the left. And this is a series play, just simply dominated by the Rams. Every year, the Rams beat Arizona. Let's click here. Got the same thing going on for the NFL. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 2 is the straight-up record for the Rams against Arizona. They absolutely dominate the series. 13 and 2 straight up since 2017. Their average win, if you went back and added up every average win, it's by 18 points per game. And Kyler Murray has been the quarterback for Arizona now for 8 games. He's 1-7 straight up in ATS in this series against the LA Rams. So it's a series play, our NFL play this week. 0-1 this year, but 4-1-1 the last 10 weeks. We're going to go with the LA Rams plus 1.5 over Arizona. All right, so I gave you a press box special, right? Yes, I did. I'm just waiting on Todd to get us that Toledo game. Oh, actually, we're not going to be able to get that for you this week. I was going to show you a press box write-up for Toledo against Mississippi State, which shows, doggone it, I really wanted to show that to you. Let's take a look at the UNLV Kansas one, but even though it's we're showing here Kansas 35-31. What you get the computer forecast over here on every single game. Well, I'll show you this one because it is a quick hitter. The quick hitter is going to be UNLV plus the points over Kansas. As you can see here, here's my write-up on the game. You get that on every game. Here's my projected score. Here are the numbers. This is the Vegas line, the Vegas total, the plus-minus ratings, the average game grade, last 4 weeks game grade, last Met line, last Met score, points per yards. Here's this, which is available on Phil Steele Plus. And then here's my computer's forecast. Shows you the yards for the game, shows you the projected score. So my computer's saying 34.6 to 30.9. Here's your experience chart. You get this on every single game. So you get 63 of these in the college, and you get all the NFL games as well. And let's go ahead and take a look at that game. By the way, my quick hitter, I can't show it to you, but it's Toledo plus 12 over Mississippi State. But we're going to take a look at this UNLV-Kansas game because I did have a couple things to show you. Let's take a look at UNLV. And we're going to take a look at Kansas. Come over here. Kansas against UNLV. Kansas. And there's Kansas. I put them on the wrong side, but that's okay because we're pressed for time here. Anyway, take a look at UNLV as an away dog. 3-0, 6-1. Away dog in non-conference games. And once again, we can't show it to you here, but they have actually won 12 straight. I use this all the time on the tour. We won with them over Houston earlier. They are now 13-0 against the spread as a non-conference away dog. And the AGG on this game, by the way, as well. If we go to our schedule with numbers, the AGG is UNLV minus 4.7, and they are the underdog here. So that is a play there. Here you look at Phil preseason line. I had Toledo plus 3. And they're getting 11.5, 12 against Mississippi State this week. That's a best bet. The forecast has both the computer and my forecast for the Mississippi State-Toledo game, which I can't show you, is Mississippi State by 6. I apologize for shouting out the wrong team to Todd. And there you go. So we got 6 selections. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quick hitters and an NFL play. Let's have a big winning week this week. Let's, if we have a game like Wake Forest, let's finish it this week so we can go 4-2, 33-17 for our selections the last 10 weeks. And I'd like to thank you for taking the Phil Steele Plus tour. I hope you're on board with Phil Steele Plus. Use that schedule for this weekend's games. And thank you for taking the Phil Steele Plus tour.